No, yeah.
Good morning. The meeting of the Tyler ISD Board of Trustees is called to order. The presence of a quorum has been established. The meeting has been duly called, and the notice of the meeting has been posted in the time and manner required. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We don't have any public participation.
Trina, do we have public participation? Thank you.
Check. So we will now have a safety and security update. We always look forward to this.
Agent David Goodson's going to provide this today. Agent Millslagle had a planned family thing he needed to take care of out of state, and we appreciate one of our deputy directors and agent providing today's safety and security update. This is on your board monitoring calendar. I know some of y'all don't have that updated one yet. We'll be getting that to y'all here soon for this upcoming school year. Agent Goodson?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
Unfortunately, for a couple of you, this is going to be a bit of a repeat from what you got Tuesday, but there will be a couple extra things in there. They're basically broken up into the things we've done for TEA, Safety and Security, and then also for the Texas School Safety Center. First one is the behavioral threat assessments required by TEA through the Safe and Supportive Schools program. Director Millslagle and Lori Anderson met with all the principals and completed 46 of these behavioral threat assessments, and that puts us at 100% complete on those with no issues. These were then uploaded into Sentinel, which, if you don't know, is now the state's repository for all safety and security documentation. While we're on behavioral threat assessments, effective August the 1st, all of those have to be completed in Sentinel and uploaded monthly. Before, they were able to be done all at the end of the year by each individual campus, and that is no longer the case. They are done monthly and uploaded into Sentinel. Third thing is the intruder audits for 24-25. Once again, no findings. That's 3 years in a row, thanks to the vigilance of all the folks on our campuses, and these will be starting again in September. We are waiting to find out who the guy is going to be. The guy who has been doing them for Region 7 has retired again, and so we're waiting to see who the new guy is, and we'll be meeting up with him in September. On to the School Safety Center. Both the EOP and the active threat for school annex have been updated per the Texas School Safety Center requirements. This is what Dr. Crawford signed on Tuesday, and they will be submitted when the portal opens in September. The latest on the TxDOT pedestrian crossing, we're going to find out in October if we were awarded approval and funding for that project. We provided everything that was asked of us and made the best case we can for why we need it. So we'll find out in October if that's going to be a good thing or a bad thing. Third thing, this is not actually up there, but the district vulnerability assessment, the DVA for our district, is scheduled for March 26th, that week, a few days into that week of 2026. As of today, we are 100% compliance with everything that they have asked for. Let's see, we have completed all of our checks of every door in the district, updated all the campus maps with all the things that they have required that we do again. And by Tuesday, we'll have all of our campuses, food service staff, maintenance, and custodians trained on the standard response protocols. So that is your safety and security update. If you have any questions, I will see if I can answer them.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? Leah?
I got a couple just quickly on the VTAs. You had 46 of them, you said?
46, yes.
What are, can you give me a little detail of who?
A behavioral threat assessment is done basically if a good example is if you have a child brings a weapon,
Okay.
or if you have a child who has made certain threats. It depends on the level. There's a little bit of wiggle room in there as to whether you have to do one or not. I always tell the administrators on my campuses, if you think that you might need to do one, you probably just need to go ahead and do one. It's not that big of a deal. It's about 3 pages. It can get lengthier, but it's better to go ahead and do one and have it than to not do one.
So we had 46 of them for last year?
Correct.
And all 46 of them have been done and cleared?
Correct.
And then on your, give me a second. On your audit findings, there were no findings on the
Correct.
audit at all? Who
Correct.
does the audit? Is it an internal audit or is somebody from
No,
outside?
that's what they call it. It's just a door audit, TEA door audit.
Okay,
Basically,
okay.
it's just the fella comes from Region 7, and he'll usually do 3 campuses at a time. We walk around with him. Basically, he checks every exterior door. And as long as we don't have anything that's dogged down, standing open, not working, then there is no finding, and we haven't had any at all. In fact, that we've done, that's about, like 75 that he's done, and we haven't had any findings on any of them.
The 6,000 campuses statewide are checked annually.
Okay.
Every door in the state of Texas, every school is checked annually, and that's part of this.
Okay. Just 2 more questions, and then I've noticed that Central Admin has cards. You can get into any school, I guess, Dr. Crawford, with your card and your higher level people with the badge. Does one card work? Like if you have a badge for, let's say you're the principal at X school, does it work at another school, or do you have to
Not
have
unless it's,
certain clearance?
not unless you are, not unless it's coded for that. You can, if you have a need to be at that campus, like
Right.
you have some that are,
Then they
like
can
say,
double code 'em.
that principal's a mentor for other principals or administrators at another campus, yes, we can do that. But not, as a rule, everybody's badge does not work on every campus, no.
And then the last one, can you tell me on the pedestrian crossing, because I haven't had one of these updates, where is it and how much is the TxDOT portion of it? Do you know?
Okay. It's going to be over in front of Tyler High is where the project is supposed to be. It's where it's supposed to be done. And as far as I know, it'll be completely funded by TxDOT.
Okay.
There is no part for us. It is completely, you either get the approval and the funding or you don't get at any
So
of it.
the deal, it's totally funded by them, there's no matching
The
funds?
the actual funding amount, I don't have it on me. I think it's $750,000.
It's, yes.
It was the lowest project submitted in the Tyler area, in consideration of something of
Well,
4
there's
billion,
2 billion.
2 billion statewide.
The amount of the total number of projects is $2 billion that people have asked for. And there's not near that much that's going to go out.
In Ty-
So, but ours is the lowest.
In Tyler, it's the crossing at Tyler High. It's a pedestrian bridge. I think it's about $4 million at UT Tyler. It's kind of a welcome to UT Tyler thing. I don't know exactly where that's supposed to be, if it's on Old Oldman or if it's on University.
I think it's on University.
On University.
And the other one is the trail from the medical district to downtown.
The one they're doing, if it's approved for us, is it gonna be an overpass or straight across, or what's the,
No, sir, I believe it's going to be some type of a light.
It's similar to if you go to UT Tyler where the apartments are across the Old Omen Road, to where it's an actual red stoplight for pedestrians to walk across.
okay.
And that's quite an ask because it's on the loop, Loop 323. It is considered a state, I believe it's state highway. The first time we submitted this, we were denied, we were declined. And I do believe there was some type of district commitment, but I think now it's going to be funded completely. I believe so. I can get you those numbers.
I just want,
Mills would have it on the top of his head today.
Yeah, he would.
that's all I got, thank you.
He does want to, we do want to thank y'all for, pulling in those letters of support and all that for that, so appreciate that.
Any other comments or?
You got something? Again, reiterate, we batted 1,000 this last year on the intruder audits and other items that we share for and with the 2 masters that we have to serve and when it comes to safety and security, which is, I hope that they can get that fixed one day. You've got the safety and security side of TEA, then you've got the Texas School Safety Center. Neither one of them are bureaucratically responsible to the other, but they both work in the governor's side of the org chart, which is just interesting that we have to play this little game and serve 2 masters. A lot of repetitive, redundant data that we share with both of those organizations. Is that right, Chief Walsworth? Yes, sir. Isn't that fun? Then there's the TCOL side of things that we also need to talk about. the DVA is this year for us.
Yes, sir, it'll be in March.
The theory behind this is that the district vulnerability assessment, that each school district will go through this every 3 or 5 years.
I believe it's every 3 years.
Yeah, so if you want to talk about the 1,000, the 1,200 plus public school systems and charter schools that are also included in that, you hit about a third of those every year, or a quarter, well, no, a third.
Yes, sir.
Every year. So next year will be our year. We've had some region districts already go through it, and we've gotten some intel on that about what they're going to ask for. Mills, if he was here, would tell you, and I'm sure Goodson's going to tell you, Agent Goodson will tell you this, and maybe even Chief Walsworth, they will find something. So we're just going to go ahead and we're not going to bat 1,000 on that. So, and that's okay. That's what you're supposed to find is there any, and it could range from anything with y'all need to get your doors fixed to maybe there's some paperwork you need to put in place, some procedures and policies, some trainings, things like that. So that's what we have found in speaking with other Region 7 school systems. And I believe Dallas might have went through it this last year. I'm not sure.
I'm sure at
Yeah.
least one district up there did.
Okay. So just kind of want to give y'all a heads up about that.
Once y'all have that district vulnerability deal, you guys will come back, obviously, and report the findings of that to us. But do they give you anything ahead of time that tells you these are the areas we're going to be looking at, or is it just a blind audit?
Well, like Dr. Crawford said, we've been in contact with a lot of districts. I don't know that they will.
They do have a they're going to meet with me.
Yeah,
Bill
there'll be.
Slagle, Chief Walsworth, some others prior to kind of tell us what that's going to look like.
Okay.
I will
Maybe
say
they're gonna
this,
tell
this
us
is
today
set up a
what's gonna
lot
be.
like an FBI audit or inspection that we used to go through. It's because a lot of the people that are there have that background. And so, yes, they will come in and they will give you, hey, these are the main areas that we're looking at. I can tell you that we are light years ahead of most places, most districts, with just about everything that we're doing. We're ahead of the game on the door audits. Our policies and procedures, every time they change, which is almost weekly, Mills keeps right on top of it, and it gets changed. So, like I said in here, we've done 100% of the things that they've asked for. So unless they spring something else on us, which they probably will, and we'll fix that, But
Yeah, and we've probably given today as much as we've ever given in a public meeting in regard to safety and security. So when the DVA gets released, we'll have to cull through that and what can be covered in executive session for safety and security, because if there are vulnerabilities, you don't sit here and you present this out there and say that these are the vulnerabilities, because if you're a bad guy, now it's public, right? So we will appropriately put it out there, what we're supposed to put out there at the dais here, and then you'll also, per your elected official status, what can be covered in there as well, along with the appropriate administration
Right.
of what's going to be vulnerability, so.
We'll look at a lot of that in exec
That's
to
right.
not expose where we are vulnerable.
That's right.
Let me say, I'm very impressed with our safety and security department. It's only, maybe 4 years old, being implemented, or something like that, because I know it's after I got on the board.
Actually, we're at 6 now.
6?
Yes, sir,
So it's just being
2019,
implemented
so
when I got
before
out.
all this came
Well,
about, we were ahead of that. Yeah.
And I'm one that kind of scrutinizes stuff as well. So I've been very impressed. I think that the people that we hired initially have established a very sound foundation for our safety and security. And if we keep that standard, I don't think we have anything to worry about. We are ahead of the game in most cases.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. We appreciate all that you do.
yes, ma'am.
Good job, Agent Goodson.
Sir.
This is a good first time right there for you.
Next, we have a public hearing on state compensatory education program review for 24-25. Presentation of report by staff.
Every
Come on,
year,
Dr. Gold.
this is a part of the actual process. When you receive state compensatory education funds, you are to have a presentation along with a public hearing and consideration by the board. So Dr. Gropel, we're going to let you present this, and if Ms. Russell, as the CFO, needs to provide any commentary, she can chime in. Dr. Gropel.
All right. Good morning, President Atkins, Board, Dr. Crawford. As Dr. Crawford stated, this is our annual state comp ed program evaluation and public hearing. Just a brief definition of what state compensatory ed is. It's additional funding designed to reduce the discrepancy from our high at-risk, economically disadvantaged students and ensuring that they have supplemental programs to help them walk across the stage as graduates of Tyler ISD. So you're statutorily, as Casey talked about at the last board meeting, there's been a change in the statute as how we can spend these funds. Looking at last year, which is the report we're talking about today, you had specific amounts of direct costs versus indirect costs. You can see some examples of direct costs on your screen there. Looking directly at staff expenses, salaries. Those direct costs are going to be what directly impact instruction in the classroom. Indirect costs are going to be looking at costs that are not directly associated with classroom instruction of our at-risk students. You can see the estimated total spend there of a little bit over $11.5 million over last school year. This number is based off of our low SES population, so that number dictates the amount of revenue that we receive from the state of Texas with state comp ed. So the goal of state comp ed is to ensure that we have minimize the number of students that drop out. And so we want to look at some longitudinal data here. Obviously, we don't have the class of 25 there, but you can see the class of 23 and the class of 24. Very high percentage of students making it across the stage, finishing their graduation requirements, and moving on as graduates of Tyler ISD. Just a frame of reference in comparison numbers, the state in 2023 reported a graduation rate just north of 90%. So if you look at overall, we're 8.5% points better from what the state average is. Looking at risk, EBs, those numbers are all significantly lower. I think EBs is in the mid 80s for a state average on graduation rates. So feel pretty good about our success rate in getting those kids across the stage, and know that the state comp ed funds directly support that. Think about our RISE campus that's designed to be a dropout prevention program, and the success of those graduates as we look at that graduation every year. That's a direct correlation to the data you see on the screen, and ultimately where our state comp ed funds go to help support. Not the only place, but that's, I think, a great example of that. As we move into this upcoming school year, we're looking at the September 1 fiscal, we will get our annual ratings. They'll be released to us August the 13th and publicly the 15th. Obviously, our smart data guy has done all that analysis and made sure that our campuses know where we believe they're going to be, has done a lot of data analysis, and is actually visiting with every campus in the district this week to go over that data and where he projects our campuses to be, so that they have a good idea of what they need to be working on day in and day out, and how they tailor not only their tier 1 instruction, but their classroom intervention to meet the needs of those individual students. So as you look at that, our campus improvement plans, district improvement plans will align to those needs. We look at our tiered support model of campus tiered support model, and ensuring that we're putting the most resources at the campuses that have the highest need, and we want to make that those campuses of the highest need have all the resources they need to help our students be successful. So that is our plan for this year, to utilize those funds in a similar manner of what we've been doing. Feel like we've got a good program working with some tweaks and minor adjustments along the way, and these state comp ed funds help support that. And I would be subject to any questions you have.
Any questions, comments?
I got couple questions on the TA accountability ratings. We're gonna get two years worth, right? Not just 1 year, so we'll get last year's and the prior year, because we've already got 2023 data, I guess.
That is
And
correct.
that's gonna come out in August.
Yes.
So will we just totally ignore the, I guess, the year that's already passed and just focus on last year's stuff as far as the classification?
We presented this presentation last year regardless of ratings and that sort of thing.
But we will get two, you'll get both letter grades on each school.
August the,
The 15th?
13th.
I don't remember.
we get it the 13th, but it becomes publicly available on the
15th.
15th.
And we were able to work with TEA on those that were embargoed, to use Dr. Crawford's words, to confirm what we had calculated was what they had calculated on their end. But we've been working with the knowledge of where our campuses were.
It's on the 24s, and then on the 25s, we, with some of the tools and research, or not resource, excuse me, resources that we have, we're pretty tightly aligned with projections.
Yeah.
And have those available for us. And we'll probably put a little something out tomorrow at Convocation, because the campuses already know. So tomorrow at Convocation, I might be able to speak to some of that. Because the accountability is here locally, not in Austin, Texas, even though it is warehoused in Austin, Texas. So them getting to release it, as opposed to us releasing it when we want to release it, just think we can maybe do a little preview of that tomorrow.
On the, you remember you sent us some stuff on them rescoring a lot of stuff, like what they were doing in Dallas, and we did some of that to try to get a true reflection of what the grades were actually. Is all of that done? Do they have a cutoff? Are you, okay.
They're done.
Okay.
And it's rescoring on writing.
Yeah, the extended constructed
AI grades
response.
it because they used to go into Craigslist and they couldn't find enough people to hire off of Craigslist, experts off of Craigslist to grade them. So they switched it to AI, and there's a human component to that you can actually go in and, because AI is not perfected yet, and so they do have enough experts to be able to employ to review that. $50 a test?
Yeah.
$50 a test. And so we do allocate budget to Dr. Curidan. We do an internal review of the things that we think could potentially score a point or two, because sometimes they'll go down there and AI will score it as a 0. You're more expert at this than I am, but then they may come back and a human may come back and score it as a,
We've seen a 3-point discrepancy in rare cases. Most of the time, it's 1 to 2 points different from what AI would grade something versus what a human might grade something. But we have had some examples of a 1 to a 4 out of a 10-point scale on resubmitting grading for
and
campuses.
forgive me if I'm wrong about this, but 32% of the ones we submitted this year came back positive in a rescore.
Yeah, we had 32% of the ones we submitted were rescored.
That's about, now I've seen as much as 60+% in a school district in some of the superintendent groups that I'm a part of. Now, that's them saying that. But Dallas, I think, was in the low 30s. It looks like districts that look like us doing this, you get about a 30% return rate on that.
So when you get the return rate where it's positive, it's 30% better than what we thought it was, they do the new scores, that's what they're going to use, the ones that we paid for them to recheck?
Correct.
And what happens if it goes the other way? Let's say we pay and we get a lower score, do we get to still keep the score they gave us?
You
Or do we
keep
got to go with
keep the
one?
higher of the
Take
two.
the AI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's not a, bless you, it's not a loss deal for us. So like we pay, we scored lower, now we got to take that
It's
lower
not-
grade.
It's not high stakes.
Okay.
It's beneficial if it's beneficial. If not, they
Yeah.
stick with the AI grade, but I think it's fair.
If you think about the other 68%, that meant that the human that graded it agreed with the way that AI graded it.
Yeah. One last thing I'll say to that, I think in one instance, it did mean was it one kid?
Yep.
One kid's score there actually meant how many points on a district, on a school, on a campus's rating?
2 points for a campus's overall rating was based off of one student. And a rescore on their ECR made a 2-point gain in the campus's overall
And
score.
it has to do with the demographic of that student,
Yeah.
correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that was a
Mr.
good
Jones's
thing.
boy.
That was a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, it's, if you start to think about batting averages, it's like going up there and getting a base hit that, when you're deep into your season, and you've had, I don't know, 600 at-bats, that you get an at-bat at the back end, there's no way statistically speaking that should be that impactful to get one base hit to elevate your batting average by how many points? 2 points?
2 points.
Yeah. Yeah, so.
That's there for long.
Hey, that's the game we're in, but I always look at this from a batting average point of view. You shouldn't be at that point. We should have got the work done before that. We should have got a bunch of base hits before that to make so it's not that impactful. So if you want to look at it from that way.
I just had a question regarding the report. All this funding is for high school, right?
No, it's K-12 funding.
Oh, really?
It's targeted to ensure kids graduate, but it is
Okay.
not just for high school students.
Oh, wow.
So we have funding through all grades on that. They just have to be targeted as economically disadvantaged or at risk of graduation.
Wow, okay.
How real time is how real time, just publicly speaking, because you presented the 23s and the 24s. We just graduated the 25s, and we got the summer school grads finished last week. How real time is that data going to be ready for us as far as graduation rates go? We wait on the agency again for an entire year?
Yeah, typically that the way that is reported from the agency, it takes we will get that as a part of our accountability for 25, 26.
Yeah, so-
That's lumped into our gumbo on
Dr.
that.
Choppa?
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll know it when we start working on it, because we're not going to call that a trend yet, because we had a little bit uptick. And again, when you start talking about the amount of batting at-bats you have, had a little bit of uptick in an increase in pretty much every one of those dropouts and graduation rates, even though it's significantly higher than the region and the state, right?
Yes, sir.
So we should be able to get that data and work on that as quickly as we possibly can. On dropout recovery?
Yes, sir.
Okay, there you go.
Just a question about compensatory money is from K through 12, correct?
ma'am.
And it's for at-risk students that we know that are having difficulties or challenges. So we know that African-American students are having difficulties and challenges in reading and math. So are we putting any extra monies or any extra programs or any extra things into that so that we are ensuring that they can get some of the help that they need?
Yes, ma'am. So we look at some of the curriculum offerings that we have at some of our highest need campuses. I talked about our tiered campuses, so areas where we see significant disproportionality in how our students are performing compared to the district. We commit more of our instructional coaching staff to work with teachers to improve the Tier 1 instruction, as well as look at after-school programming and tutorials to help close some of those gaps for some of our most struggling students.
So do we have any data showing some of the results, or when they first got in, when they left?
I don't have it in front of
Oh,
me,
you
but
don't
I
have it
can
in front of you.
I can
We
get you
have-
some
we are keeping
information
data for
about the closing of the gaps in those specific areas.
Hit your back button on your slide.
That one?
Nope. There you go. So lift indicators, remember we identified those kids as lift kids, lightning improvement for Tyler. So the ones that you're speaking of predominantly are, our risk loads in our district are concentrated in a handful of campuses. We know where those are at. That's where they get that additional support. They're part of the tiered system that we have. And those Tier 1 campuses, I don't mind saying that out loud. Who is it?
It
Sorry to put you on the
it
spot.
changes from year to year. So you have Jones, Dixie, Austin, Pete, and
Bolter?
Bolter.
Bolter, that's right.
Yeah. So those are the 5 Tier 1 campuses that we're focusing on for 25, 26. So committing additional resources and supports at those campuses,
And you
based
can
off
get
of
out
what the
that.
data.
You can get out of the tiered.
Yeah, or would be an example of one that was in Tier 1 support last year that's moved to what we call Tier 2, a different level of support based off of their academic performance in the 24-25 school year.
Same as Ramey.
Yes, sir. Ramey is also an
And
example.
Ramey
of that.
is still our highest risk load concentration in the district. So you can get out of it.
Yep.
Okay.
When
Any
you-
more questions or comments? I'm sorry.
One more. When you do this presentation next time, is there any way to put like the total amount of kids that we have this money focused into? About 11 million bucks, right? So 5-7% of our overall budget, I guess. Is there any way to have like a number, how many kids the money's going into, and then a demographic breakup of those kids? When you do the next one, not obviously, I don't want that answered now, but
Yeah.
when you do the next one, if you could break it out that way for me, it helps, because everything else is disaggregated that way for us.
We can definitely give numbers for the students that affect the amount of funding that we get.
They generate that funding.
Yes, we can give that number for sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
At-risk consists of like 27 different indicators of how a student can qualify for it. So like the at-risk, like is as, like it's generic, but it's all encompassing of how a student can qualify.
Right, but when you get your funding for us, the 11 million bucks that we get for this, they've got a number that says it's this many kiddos that's tied to this funding, right? The factors, right. That's what I'm looking at is, we got 1,000 kids or 500 kids or 4 kids, whatever that number is. I like that portion of it, but then also disaggregated in the way it's usually presented, whether it's social, economic, Black, Hispanic, white, that portion of it. Does that make sense?
I mean, rough, but yes, we can get that for you a little bit more detail, but if you're looking at a 60 to 65%, and you're looking at 18.5, that's a nice number. Even though it was 18,750 last year, you're looking at 12,000 kids generate that
Okay,
money.
Yeah,
okay.
that's,
So almost $100 a kid maybe.
yeah, that's,
But is it weighted ADA or is it actual enrollment?
I don't want to.
Okay, we'll figure that out. I mean, I hate that stuff. But anyways, that's where you're looking at as far as 60%, 65%, which is, I think, is what we're identified as at risk.
Okay.
Thank you. We've had board comment. Any public comment? If you guys want to comment? Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Budget update for 25-26.
So as part of the calendar and the schedule that requires us per state law, we do have Casey Russell, our Chief Financial Officer, here to provide some tidying up of any budget information that we may have to stay on schedule with state requirement for that budget calendar.
Hello.
So this is going to be the second update. At the end of August, we will provide this to you for adoption. So if you go to page 8, I will use the right page numbers this time. This is going to be a summary of the budget, and we're going to go over this quickly. I don't have a PowerPoint with all the increases and decreases like we did last time from last year. There was some slight changes. Our property values came back higher than we anticipated, and so what that did was it changed the formula a little bit. And the main thing on this page is the revenue is up $2.2 million. When your property taxes and state revenue, they have an inverse relationship, but it's not perfectly inverse. And so when property values went up and the state revenue went down, it resulted in an additional $2.2 million. And where you're going to see that in the budget is mostly in increases in salaries for this year and next year. So that is helps us with some conservative future estimates. We're going to just kind of go through 9, 10, 11, 12, through 14. These numbers didn't really change. The department budgets might have shifted slightly based on new estimates that we got, but nothing worth noting. We're going to go to page 15. This is where we'll see the revenue. If you look at line 5812, state revenue, foundation school fund, Last time I presented, we calculated this to be 85.2 million, and now it's showing 82.3, so that's that decrease. And where we're seeing the increase in revenue is at the bottom, 5711 current year property tax levy. That went from 82.4 million to now 87.5. So it changed the percentage makeup of our funding to have less come from the state and more come from property taxes. So one thing I wanted to note on the next page, page 16, we had previously said that our tax rate was going to remain flat, 6669. That is actually going to be 65 cents now based on these new values. And the INS rate is now going to go from 2431 to 1950 for an overall tax rate of 8450. Last year it was 88 cents, so this is a decrease in 6.5 cents. So a lot of people will say, oh, well, the tax rate went down, but the values went up, so my taxes are still going up. But actually, the average amount that a taxpayer will pay is going down $360, I think. So it is an average decrease. The next page, page 17. These are going to be the increases and decreases. There were some changes here based on what we talked about, those increases in salaries and future projections, but nothing major, and some estimates that came in and some requirements from the legislature that we included in here. The final page, page 18, this is going to be the debt service, how we came up with the INS rate. The only thing that changed here is going to be that state hold harmless that comes from the formula that's based on values. And so nothing really to note there other than the INS rate did go down. So do you guys have any questions?
Questions, comments?
I'm good, I've asked her enough.
Anybody else?
I'll make a comment. This has been a difficult budget season because of how, compared to others, whenever the state has provided some additional revenue, part of that is because of compression that's now been going on for 4 sessions now, I think, where they actually cap school districts on what you actually can realize in values going up. I think we're capped at 2.5% or 3.5%.
I don't want to tell you wrong.
That's a big debate that's going on right now for other municipalities as well. So I know when the people's tax bills, it is the largest, it is the school taxes that make that up as well. But you're starting to see some counties, not here, you're starting to see some cities. I don't know, I haven't looked at their budget yet, but I think I've saw what the county's proposing. But like Harris County, I think went up something like 12 to 14%. I mean, just something overnight. And so they didn't really have an impetus to cap that and to compress that. So that's one thing the legislature's working on as far as your total tax effort per community and what that looks like. And so I think that when folks in Smith County start talking about Tyler ISD, Smith County, City of Tyler, or any ISD, you look at your total tax effort and you compare that to other places like a Waco or an Abilene or Amarillo, or just like we do with accountability, to see what's going on in those communities as well. At least that's how I look at it. I know that's how the county judge looks at it. Judge Moran at the time, now Congressman Moran, and I had robust conversations about total tax effort. But this has been a difficult season because of the nuances of how they funded us. You know, they did not provide a basic allotment increase, and they did provide teacher raises, but lo and behold, left out of what normally qualifies for a Chapter 21 teacher consideration, like DIAGs and
Counselors, nurses,
counselors
librarians.
and nurses, they were not included in this. So there are some districts in the state that are not providing compensation increases either this year or next year or both for some of those that we just described. And so that was one thing that did come out through this process here recently, that there were some classification of employees that were kind of, I won't say left out, but we were able to scrape through and figure out a way to include the nurses in this compensation increase. Not saying we were trying to be mean about it. Same thing with police officers, right? And trying to set ourselves up for a 2-year plan and not just a 1-year plan, an either or for next year. And I'm not promising anything for next year,
Right.
but when you do these biennial types of budgets, that's what you got to plan for. So that's why it's kind of been a little bit more of a ratification for what was already been presented to you as well. So I think we've got one more budget adoption to go through, right?
Yes.
The actual big budget, August the 25th.
Fifth, yeah.
And in that agenda item, it will be a ratification to make sure all those things I just described are in there. We will be set for that. After that, if there's anything that happened, it would be an amended budget.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Just to come in regards to that, those individuals that were not receiving funding from state as far as an increase, the few that I've talked to have definitely been appreciative of what we're doing to give them an increase this year. You know, and it helps to retain our staff as well. You know, when you consider increasing the teacher's salary and the people around them, you're not increasing, you get a little disparity between the individuals that hold those positions. So I can honestly say that I think they're appreciative of what we've done to make sure that they got an increase of some type.
Thank you, Mr. Newsom. We've had to do a little bit of a reminder to staff, certain classifications of staff about some big bumps that they received. We were pretty conservative during COVID, and we didn't go out and just, overly hire a bunch of people. We did a lot of work on roofs and windows and HVAC, with a little bit of stipend work in there as well. But 4 years ago, we did the big brackets of staff. And so there have to be some reminders in there that we're in good shape on that. I will say this, I've got a TASB study on my desk on salaries. Every time that the media gets a hold of these things about starting teacher salary, we always get our stuff approved first, and then XYZ district down the road loves to do theirs after us, and we're going to give them $25 more than Tyler gave them. Average teacher pay in Tyler ISD in the region, in Region 7, the average teacher pay is actually the highest in the region. So that is a piece of information that y'all should be proud of, even though starting teacher pay may be $25 less or $100 less than the district down the road. When you start looking at average teacher pay, which means what? You have more veteran teachers teaching our kids. So, because they make more money as you're here longer. So, and the data does show that year 10 on, we're really, really competitive when it comes to teacher pay. So come to Tyler ISD if you're a veteran teacher.
I'm glad you said that because I've already heard that about down the road starting salary being higher.
Okay.
So, yeah, the average teacher pay, we're the highest. Okay.
Yeah. And it's funny is you probably hear from those that are veteran teachers, they're the ones like, can you believe that XYZ is beating us? And they're probably like in year 12 or 13. It's like, well, so we're very competitive in those brackets.
I can answer that now.
Okay, good.
That helps.
Good.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Now to our consent agenda items. The first one is consider approval of board meeting date for purpose of adopting budget and proposed tax rate. Any discussion on it?
We just approve A through E.
I do have an adjustment on the student code of conduct for, and an adjustment in C.
Okay,
So we can pull C and do the rest.
we'll pull C. So could I get a motion for A, B,
I move we approve items A, B, D, E.
wait, he's thinking.
Second.
Okay.
You ready? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, we'll move on to, the motion carried, we'll move on to discuss C, approval of student code of conduct for the 25-26 school year.
I've got a supplement to include for your student code of conduct in regard to cellular phones, electronic devices, something that one of the trustees caught prior to the meeting so that you could actually go in and look at that. Mr. Jones, put that microphone in front of him.
Yes, sir. Just speaking to the second assessment there for violating the cell phone policy. The change just included parents had to pick up the cellular device when it was confiscated. All of the other steps are listed outright, and so needed to make that language the same so there would not be any confusion whether or not on this second one I get to send somebody else for the device. So that is the change there. And there's a gray box that is in there that's all inclusive, but that lessens the argument and the confusion to list it at each step, the way that's supposed to play out.
Okay. But concerning what I think we had before, there was a charge on the first time, but we eliminated that and moved it to the second time as opposed to the first time, right?
Yeah, a little compromise on that.
Right.
It's
That's
for
what I thought.
goodwill towards the board's dais,
Right.
for the dais of the board, and the greater good of the community. Something for y'all to consider. Obviously, we can adjust as
No,
needed
I'm
with
okay with it.
your stance on this and giving us direction. Even a post-adoption, y'all could direct us how to do that. We don't need to bring it back to you. So there's that.
Yeah.
I will say that 3 of our 4 middle schools were, Dr. Gropel, you can speak to this, we were already charging.
Yeah, that's a.
And I know that was the discussion that y'all had at the last
Right.
time was, are we gonna, is it fair for that whenever we're at with, so obviously they've purchased the phone, you brought that up. But Dr. Gropel, 3 of our 4 middle schools have data for us from last year and using the same methodology we're proposing. What do you have on that?
So Hubbard collected $50 in cell phone fees last year. Moore was $395, and Bolter collected $820 in cell phone fees.
Yeah, and you may ask, why was Hubbard lower? They had a pretty good fidelity to it. We monitored that as well. You asked Three Lakes. We gave, it was not a district standard. It was for them to be able to utilize that. Three Lakes actually used it as the high schools. And if it became super, super disruptive, there was just a discipline attached to it without a charge. Obviously, this is what we're proposing for a district-wide policy to be made now. So you would actually have all 4 mandated to participate in the district policy per state law. Same thing with the high schools.
Mention that the policy is in line with.
Yeah, Mr. Jones just echoed what you're discussing there in the handbook was a part of, written in the policy that was approved on item E. So it's just in alignment with that. The parent pickup, ensuring that parent pickup was already listed in the policy.
Did those 3 middle schools have a first-time offense fee?
I believe they did. I'd have to go back and review that, but I'm pretty sure that they required a first-time fee. And they worked with families. I mean, if the $15 was an issue at one time to pay it out over installments if needed, but they didn't have any issue of somebody not being able to pay to get their phone back.
I know we have more high school students than, well, I don't know, than middle school students, probably not. I mean, if you add all 4. My point is that are the high school principals taking away that first-time $5 offense and these kids just getting their phone taken away? Is it gonna, are we doing more work? I don't know how to say this. Is it gonna cause more people to not care?
I'll let
I
Mr.
don't know.
Jones speak.
What are the principals saying? Like, what is this? Are they?
The
Ultimately,
principals are.
this is up to the admin of those schools.
Yeah, the principals are fine with the policy as it is written and as.
Right now.
Yeah, as it's written in the student code of conduct. And to speak to that, I think it shows good faith that you're trying to give them an
Okay.
opportunity to get accustomed to the change. And you make a mistake, okay, we
Right.
don't find your parent pickup. And then after that, then you know what the policy is and what our practice is at the particular school. And so if you choose to bring your cell phone to school and misbehave with it or violate the policy, then you pay the assessment to get it back. And so, it's just like any other thing where there are choices. If you don't want to pay the $5, $10, $15, then don't violate the policy. So these are choices that young people have to make, and so that's part of our work as educators.
And my whole point was the admin, they're all going to be dealing with this. So
Absolutely.
I just want to make sure they're,
On board.
they're comfortable with,
Hey, we
they're going to be
certainly-
the ones doing this. We are not. We're just approving it. So, that
We
was all.
certainly appreciate the concern, because we share that concern. We know it's going to be a challenge, and it's going to take, like at Hubbard, everybody rowing in the same direction and everybody buying into what the law says, actually.
In the spirit of Senate Bill 12, parental rights, I think with parental rights comes responsibilities as well. So we have not taken that out of this policy, even though it's a completely different state law. 1141, I believe, on the House bill side, or is it 1481? I don't know, I get confused all the time. Do what? 1481. I don't know, who knows what 1141 was. 1481. That's going to be something that needs to coincide and work side by side with us is on the parent end of it. We do have some trepidation. Some of us old guys that have been doing this since the early 2000s. We were laughing yesterday at a superintendent meeting in Dallas about shirt tails being tucked in. It wasn't just a Dallas thing that I was having to go through. I'm sure Tyler had the same thing going on as well. And that's back when they had tall tees. And those tall tees would go down to your shins. And we were trying to get them to tuck their shirt tails in. Tuck your shirt in, 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 tuck your shirt in. And then discipline. There's going to have to be some work on this. And there's going to have to be some finesse, and there's going to have to be some sensitivity, and we're going to have to train our kids to do things a little bit differently. Parents are going to have to get involved with it as well. I will say what we've presented to y'all is a nice little happy medium if y'all can go for it. There are some other districts that are really, really going heavy on this thing. And maybe we need to consider this down the road, but there are some districts that are saying that confiscation of the cell phone, if it was used, obviously in a criminal act, because that becomes evidence, but even things like bullying, even things like filming a fight,
Right.
that is held until the end of the semester.
Or arranging for a fight to take place
Or
in the
arrange for a fight
restroom or
using
whatever.
that. So, we'll kind of keep our eye on all of this to see if that's something down the road that we need to get to. We hope we don't have to. Let's all play nice in the sandbox and follow the policy that we have in place so that we don't have to get down there.
And in 2013 at Stewart, we were taking $5. So inflation is coming, we still taking $5.
It's been a while. I think that it shows that we're being considerate, but with the first offense, having the parents to have to be involved and not pay is very important, I think, because at least the parent is aware of the situation, and we didn't charge them any money. But the second offense, I think we definitely should, and it should be a parental pickup and involvement, because they are the ones that will make a difference. The children won't make any, it doesn't matter to them, but the parents have to be involved with this for this to really be effective.
So I think this thing is going to pass because we have to pass it regardless to be in compliance with state law. I still think, I like the tweaks y'all have made, the no money on the first one. I think that's a good step. I still would like to release the phone to whoever picks the kid up. Because sometimes it's not the parent or the guardian, it's one person who's giving all the kids a ride, and they're usually on the kid's pickup list. So I hope if that's not in here, that we'll at least give them greater
Questions, it'd be the same folks for that, me and Dr. Gropel, correct? And Mr. Jones could possibly maybe give some commentary at the appropriate time in F&G as well, because he does manage a lot of the grievance process as well.
Okay, now we will go into executive session.
Just a quick question on the grievance
sorry.
days. No, that's okay. If I may, on the grievance days, Sue, are we extending those days from
On the
20?
what?
From 10, on the grievance section, the level 1 and level 2, they extended the days from 15 to 60 and then from 10 to 20 on level 2. Is that done to stay in compliance with something, or is that something we locally do?
Yeah, we didn't choose to do that. That is actually done as far as from Senate Bill 12.
Senate Bill 12.
Yeah, the Parents' Bill of Rights, and, you know, we'll roll with that. Obviously, you get chances to resolve some of this stuff informally, but this extends the window of it to become formal if so choose. So y'all might get to have some more fun as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will now go into executive session.
Hey,
You got 4, okay. The meeting of the Tyler SD Board of Trustees was previously called to order. The presence of a quorum have established, and we do have some information coming out of executive session.
All right, let's see. Okay, so we're on, E, item E, lawyers, is that correct? On the, 11, C is our action item. 11C, back page.
turn your microphone on, please.
Okay, 11C, yeah. So in regard to item 11C on our agenda, I move that the board authorize the superintendent to execute the necessary paperwork required to finalize the pending TEA and SOAH cases referenced on